Welcome all of you in online lecture series of software engineering and project management. So last time we have left some part of the topic, that is a software myth, and last time we have completed up to the management level myths. Okay, so what is mean by the software myths? The software myths is nothing but what? It is a misunderstanding, or misleading or misguidance that is propagated in the software field. So that software myth can be propagated in the different levels, that is management level that we have already seen in last lecture. Then it is propagated into the customer level, and last one is practitioner level, or it may be called as a developer level. So there are three main levels in which these myths are propagated in the software field. So management level means that we have already studied in previous lecture. So next level of myths is customer level myth. Okay, so what myths that is propagated by the customer in the software field, that we have to study. So first myth is what? A general statement is sufficient to get started with the development of the software. No need to mention the requirements. That is the myths generated from the customer. Okay, and what is the reality? In reality, if we do so, we are heading towards as a disaster. What is meaning of this myth? Means suppose if we want to design any new software, that time customer have to specify his requirement in details. But instead of this, if a customer thinks that if I provide a basic statement, then the developer will develop the project for me. Okay, so that is the thinking of what? The customer. But in actual reality it is not possible, because to design any software, that time we need its detail. Means customer must have to provide the all its requirement in details, like UI designing part, then functionality of each particular module, and maximum users that they are using the software. Okay, so only the general statement is not sufficient for designing or for developing any project. So in detail statement have to be provided to developer. So that is the myth that is generated by the customer level. Next myth in the customer level is what? The project requirement continuously changes but can be easily accommodated in the software. Okay, that is the myth from the customer level. And what is its reality? If the changes are requested in earlier stages of software, then can be easily carried out, but if the requested in the later stages, the cost of changes is rapidly increasing. Okay, so what is the myth? Customer thinks that we can continuously change our requirement till and until the development process is not completed. So that is means it will think that we can easily make the changes in the software as per our requirement, but in actual case it's not be easily done, because if we are getting the requirements or we are getting the changes in the earlier stage of development process, that time it is possible. Okay, in the earlier stage of software development it is possible to make changes easily, but if we proceed, or if we completed the some part of project, and after that if user or if client requires the changes in that particular software, that time it is not easy, because we are again perform the reverse engineering and we have to go back again from the first stage, and then we have to perform the changes in the main code that is we have designed for the software. So it is not easy. Means we need to all things have to change if we get the requirements in the later stage. Okay, so that is the myth propagated at the customer level. And next myth is what? Software is easy to change. Okay, again, customer thinks that the software is easy to change, but actually in reality what happens? The reality is totally what? Different. Means what? If the software is deployed to the customer or client, means after deployment or after delivery of that particular software, the customer thinks we can at any instant of time we can made a changes in that particular software, or at any in future we can perform such types of changes. Okay, but in actual that is not possible. Once the project is done, we cannot easily make the changes inside it. So if we want to change after deployment, that time we have to again perform same software engineering process, or we have to follow all the steps, and we have to again start from the initial stage. So that is not easily done if we want to perform changes in the or after the deployment or delivery of the software to the clients. Okay, so next type of myths or next level of myths is practitioner level myths, or it may be called as a developer level myths. Practitioner level means what? That myths will be generated from some new developers. Whenever the new developer in the team, so in that case these myths are generated. So what is the myth? Let us see. The first myth is what? Once we write the program and get it work, our job is done. Okay, means what? The practitioner thinks that what? Once we write the program and we get it work and our job is done. But in actual reality what happen? Usually the problem is just begin, because writing a code is only a 10 to 20% part of your whole software development. So that thinking is not we can say that it is valid. Okay, means the developer thinks that once I have written a program and my whole work is done, so after all I do not make any work inside that particular project. But that is not actual case. In reality what happen? Usually the problem just begins, means when we actually integrate different modules, and after that if we finalize the project, that time the actual problems will starts, and after that the actual work of the developer is get started. Okay, so that is what the myths generated in the practitioner level. Second myth is what? Until I get the program running, I have no way of accessing the quality. Okay, that is a myth at the practitioner level. Means what? A programmer thinks that till and until I cannot write program, till and until if the program is done and if my program is running, then only we can concentrate on the quality of software. Means the quality of software is decided after the program is completely run. But that is not actual case, because the quality of software you have to think in the intermediate stage. Means whenever you start the developing of any software, that time from initial stage to final stage we have to consider these thoughts in our mind, that we have to give the higher quality or good quality software. We cannot decide its quality after get running the program. So that is the actual reality. Okay, so reality was, however, quality assessment techniques should be used throughout the software development life cycle. Okay, so that is actual case. Then next myth in the practitioner level is what? When the project is successfully delivered, product is only running program. Okay, that is also the myth generated at the practitioner level. And what is the reality? It is just a small part of software, but it also include documentation, help files and guidelines for handling the software. Okay, let us discuss about this myth. So what the practitioner thinks when the project is successfully delivered, means when the project is deployed or given to the client, that time project is what, it is only the running program or it is somewhat running software. And then he thinks that our work is completely done, so we do not need to work anymore on that project. But in actual case, what happened, if the project is deployed or if the project is totally done, after that we have to provide a documentation for that particular software. Okay, so documentation contains for example user manuals, then testing manuals, and all other documentation that is used to give the guidelines regarding to the software, means how to use it, what problems are you are facing while using the software, then frequently asked question and answers. All these documentation have to be provided or have to be generated after the deployment or delivery of the software. So that is the myth and its reality at the practitioner level. So now here we have completed all the myths. Now let us see the process flow. Okay, so there are different types of processes that involved in development of any software. So inside the block that you have seen here, so inside the block are different stages of software development processes given. So the stages are communication, planning, modeling, construction and deployment. Okay, so in communication stage, what happens, the user or client give her requirements to the developer. Okay, so by using communication medium, so that communication will use to take the requirements from the client or user. After that, second block is the planning. After getting the actual requirement, then planning have to be done for the project. Okay, and after that, modeling. So according to the requirement of user, a modeling a module, a particular module for our software is to be designed. Okay, so modeling consists of designing a flowchart or block diagrams. Hmm? And after that, the next block is a construction. In construction, here we have to write actual program coding. So by using the modeling block, in that we have written, suppose for example, flowchart or block diagram. So for that particular flow, we have to write the program in any one of the languages. Okay, so the construction, in construction part, we will write the actual program of our software. After the construction, the next step is a deployment. Deployment means what, it is delivery of the product to the clients. Okay, so here two process flows are shown as per the diagram. The first one is linear process flow and the second one is a iterative process flow. So in linear process flow, the process will be carried out linearly. Okay, the process is carried out linearly, means what, means initially we must have to perform communication, after that we have to perform planning, and after that modeling and construction and deployment. So this sequence is fixed. Means before making planning we cannot perform modeling, or before making modeling we cannot construct the program or construct the software. So for each stage, a previous stage is must inside the linear process flow. Now in second iterative process flow, so here we can directly jump to the any of the stages as per the diagram you have seen here. This blue lines will shows the flow of the your process, means from the communication block you can directly jump to the construction, or from communication block you can jump to the planning or modeling, and vice versa. Means we can also return into the previous stage also. Suppose here we first perform the communication, after that make a planning of the project, after that we perform the modeling, then construction, and if in construction we have detected some problem, then we go again to the the first stage, that is communication. Again here the new requirement from the user is accepted, and then again perform the planning, modeling, and then construction, till and until a satisfactory answer cannot get, we can perform this stage by number of times. So that is difference between a linear process flow and the iterative process flow. Now here the classification of process model is given. So the process model is mainly categorized into the two parts. Okay, so first part is a perspective process model, and second part is specialized process model. Again, in case of perspective process model, it will be categorized into the three types. So here the first type of perspective process model is waterfall model, then incremental model, then evolutionary model. Okay, waterfall model again consists of a V model. In case of in incremental model, there is an incremental and RAD model. And here for evolutionary model, that is a prototyping model, spiral model, and concurrent model are there. So we have to, or we are going to study all these process models one by one in details. So you need to remember this classification of the process model first, then we will proceed to the next topic. So the first model that we are going to study, that is waterfall process model. Okay, so this is a type of perspective process model. This is type of perspective process model, and this model is a linear process model. Linear process model means what? The next step will require the completion of the previous steps that actually we have studied already. So here you will see the all the blocks, or this is called as what? The process inside the development of your software. So the first block is a requirement. Okay, so requirement means what? In this phase, okay, the actual requirement from the users is received. So requirement documentation is prepared, and then the according to that requirement use cases is to be performed, or use cases is generated. After that, design. After getting the requirements from the user, then a design part is to be carried out. So for design part, we will draw the block diagrams. Okay, again suppose we will draw the flow charts also. So design part consists of software architecture and map the stakeholders. Okay, so these two parts will be carried out in a design part. After that, third block is implementation. So in implementation, we know that from the design part we will get the logic of your software, and according to that logic we will implement here what? The actual code. So by using any one of the programming language. So in implementation part we will construct what? The software program. Okay, so construct the software and what? Data storage and retrieval. After that, the verification means when the implementation part is over, the technical reviewer team, okay, or management level, we will perform what? The verification of the implemented or developed software. After verification and the testing of your whole project, then it will deployed to the customer or deploy with what? Clients. After the deployment process, the maintenance part is there. In the maintenance part, we have to check the errors, okay, and then also we have to check the optimize the capabilities of the software. So this is a linear process flow, or it is also called as a perspective uh, process model. So here all stages are depends on the previous stages. Now let us see the some Now let us see some advantages and disadvantages of this waterfall model. So as per the diagram given above that we have seen, we will say that what it is a very simple and easy to understand. Okay, it is a systematic and sequential approach of software development. Then next one is, in this process each phase is processed and completed at one time, so overlapping is avoided. Okay, as we know that till and until we cannot completed the previous step, we cannot go towards the next step. So overlapping, there is no issue of overlapping in this model. The next advantages is fourth number, it is easy to manage as all the requirements are very well understood in the beginning. Okay, so now in this case or in this type of process model, we need all the requirement at the initial phase. Okay, after all no requirement can be received from the client or users, so all requirement must be available at the initial phase. So it is easy to manage if we get all requirement at the initial phase. So that are the advantages of waterfall model. Along with the advantages, it consists of some disadvantages also. So let us see the disadvantages. So first disadvantages is what? The problem in this model remains uncovered until the testing. Okay, as it is a linear model, till and until we cannot perform the testing of the software, the problems are uncovered. Second, the biggest drawback is blocking state. Okay, so what is its biggest disadvantages? That is blocking state. Blocking state means what? If we can block in any stage of this process, then we cannot go towards the next step, because it is what? Because it is linear model. In linear model, till and until current state is not completed, we cannot go towards the next step. So if there is a problem in the current step, and if we cannot solve that problem, so we cannot able to go to the next state, so that is called as a blocking state. Then third disadvantages is, according to the model, customer have to state requirement at beginning only, which is difficult for the customer. Okay, so that is the disadvantages for the customers, because sometimes it may be happens that in between the development of process, user can think about the new requirement, and that have to be integrated in the software. But if we use a waterfall model for designing purpose, that time it is not possible, because here all requirements are required at the initial phase. So in intermediate stage we cannot accept the requirement. So that is the again big disadvantages of what? Waterfall model. Now next disadvantages is, customer get working version too late, so not a realistic approach. Here in this case, the deployment process required a larger time, because uh, as we know that for development of any software, a 15 people team is there or 20 people team is there. But here we cannot perform simultaneous all the operations, because here suppose think that some people are working in initial stage, means like some people are working in communication stage, some people are working in designing steps, some people are working in implementation stages. Okay, so till and until the previous steps are not completed, so the people that works on the next step have to be wait. Okay, they cannot perform any operation or any work till and until the previous step is completed. Means suppose the peoples that working on the designing part, that are waiting till and until what, the communication process is not done. Okay, the people that are working on the implementation stage, means that are working on implementation of the program code, they are again waiting till and until the development process team cannot complete their work. So likewise here the people have to be wait till and until the previous state is not completed. So up to the deployment steps, this process will require a larger time. Okay, so for development time for this type of software is larger. Then next disadvantages is it is suitable only for a small project. Okay, this model is suitable for what, only for small projects, because it is a linear approach. Okay, and it require a larger time, so it is only suitable for the small project. If the big project is there, that time it will take a large amount of time for designing purpose, so it is suitable for the smaller project only.